Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles, and I welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys the first perspective on things and how we see them. In today's episode, the topic is, will the Nets be the best team in the Eastern Conference by the end of the regular season? So that's the topic I'm going to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also be on the lookout for our Dreamerspro premium community and Dreamerspro.com, which is coming soon. So anyway, let me get into this topic right here. So the New Jersey Nets have kind of been the new big story in the NBA, and to me, they're the biggest experiment in the league currently because, you know, as soon as they made that James Harden acquisition, to get James Harden, because we all know James Harden was not happy playing in Houston, and that situation was going from bad to, like, you know, very, very, very bad. And he left a bad taste in some people's mouths when he decided to leave Houston. DeMarcus Cousins and others said that they felt disrespected by how he was behaving. But nevertheless, some people said that, you know, he came into training camp out of shape on purpose or whatever it is. And James Harden has these kind of like miraculous bodies because he did look a bit overweight, but then now within the next 2 weeks, he looks like he's slimming down pretty quickly. So he may just have one of those type of bodies. But anyway, the moment they made that acquisition, a lot of people, you know, after getting him, a lot of people said that this team was at least going to go to the Eastern Conference Finals, right? No, excuse me. That's what they were saying before they got James Harden. They were saying that about Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. But then Kyrie Irving started looking like he was going rogue or whatever it was. He just stopped showing up to games for reasons that I don't really know. And then once they got James Harden, some people said, now they're going to the finals, right? If you ask Stephen A. Smith said, they asked him just about a day or two ago, he goes, what's your expectation for this team? And he goes, they're going to the NBA Finals. That was his expectation for the team. Skip Bayless, I think, went as far as saying that he believes that the Brooklyn Nets now are going to win the championship. The only thing that makes me say that is because when they made that acquisition for James Harden, his thing was he was kind of making fun of Shannon Sharp or going at him, saying, you know, it's over for your man LeBron. It's over for your man LeBron. So I think, judging from him saying that, I think probably Skip Bayless had the Lakers and the Nets in the finals, if I'm not mistaken, because I don't see how it could be, you know, a big issue to LeBron James when, you know, they play in two different conferences. So maybe he's saying that maybe he's picking the Lakers to go to the finals and then the Brooklyn Nets to knock them off. Probably that's what he was thinking. But then at the same time, I thought he was picking the Clippers. So I'm not really sure about Skip Bayless on that. Nevertheless, Skip seemed like he has them winning the championship. Now, when they got their first win, right, or when they played the first time with Kevin Durant and James Harden, it was when they played against the Orlando Magic. And in that game, it was a very close game, and it went down to the wire, and it was a very high-scoring game. And they ended up winning that game. They played their two stars all of the fourth quarter. In this case, I'm talking about James Harden and Kevin Durant. KD went for like 42. James Harden had the first 30-point triple-double for any new player playing with the new team on a debut. So it was a pretty. These guys put up some sensational numbers, and in my mind, I was like, yeah, but they didn't really beat a good team, and they beat a really short-handed team. So I was like, you know, I was a bit trepidatious about throwing on too much praise on that win because, you know, it wasn't really a very good team. And the Orlando Magic, if I look at the current NBA standings right now in the Eastern Conference, I think they're falling. Right, at one point, I think they were in the top 3, top 4, and now they're the number 9 seed. So they've lost 6 games in a row. So they got off to a hot start, but now they're not really playing good. And I was a bit surprised because some teams started off the season very hot, like the Orlando Magic, the Atlanta Hawks. But now it looks like they're turning back into their old selves, and now the Atlanta Hawks are back to the number 8 seed with a 6-7 record. So, you know, I wasn't really too impressed by them beating the Magic. But then last night, however, I tuned in and I saw them playing the Milwaukee Bucks, right? And I kind of picked up this game a little bit later, well into the second half, because I wasn't aware that these two teams were playing. So I caught that game towards the tail end of that third quarter. And then I started watching the game and I saw it was a pretty close game, right? And I was looking at that game. Let me just pull up the stats here. I was looking at the game and it looked like KD and James Harden were having a pretty good game, right? But Giannis was also playing a pretty solid game because he finished the game with 34 points, 12 rebounds, and 7 assists. So he had a beast mode game. But these are the type of Giannis numbers. But I was looking at the game and it was like a seesaw. They were going back and forth. And in that fourth quarter, it was very, very close. It wasn't a highly contested game on the defensive end of the floor, but it went down to the last shot. And ultimately, the Brooklyn Nets ended up coming away with that win, 125-123, with Chris Middleton missing the tying three-pointer in the corner to actually win the game. Actually, they went for the three instead of going for the tie. So they ended up winning that game. And then I said to myself, okay, this is a very good win for this team because now they've beaten a very solid NBA team. It's not like as if they beat the Orlando Magic when you're like, okay, they beat the Orlando Magic. What's the big deal about beating the Magic? Milwaukee Bucks have the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference, and they're most likely going to finish in the top 3 in the East. So they're a solid team. And the Brooklyn Nets have won the last 4 games. So when I saw them beat that team, I was like, okay, now they're showing me something. It wasn't a highly contested game on the defensive end of the floor, but nevertheless, they still got the win. Now, on the other hand, the Milwaukee Bucks didn't shoot very well from the 3 because generally the Milwaukee Bucks are, as I said prior, are the number 2 team in the NBA for shooting threes. Last night, if I look at the team stats of the game, I think the Milwaukee Bucks probably they shot, what did they shoot from the 3? They shot 29% from the 3. So they had a poor shooting game from the 3-point line last night, and generally they're not going to be like that because they shoot above 40% from the 3-point line in the regular season as a team. So they had an off night, and in the Brooklyn Nets, they shot 48% from the 3, hitting 15 out of 31 threes. So yes, the Milwaukee Bucks, they had a bad night shooting, so most times they're going to shoot much better than that from the 3. So if these two teams were to meet in the playoffs, I think the Milwaukee Bucks would have a very, 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 very good chance of beating the Brooklyn Nets because the Milwaukee Bucks they're not a scrub team, right? They are very, very efficient offensive team, and they have some great defenders in Giannis Antetokounmpo, Drew Holiday, and these guys. So they're not like a walkover matchup, and they're a very, very good team. So I expect the Milwaukee Bucks to be there in the end. Now, that being said, the Brooklyn Nets have been getting some wins in the absence of Kyrie Irving. And judging from what I've been seeing thus far, it looks like James Harden is going to be the point guard of that team. And he's probably the player best suited to be the point guard for the Brooklyn Nets, thus far. The question still remains, number one, when is Kyrie Irving coming back? And number two, what type of role is he going to have when they play? What style of play are they going to have? Is he going to be off the ball more? Because it seems like James Harden and Kevin Durant kind of work on the floor. I'm very curious to see how Kyrie Irving is going to play because he's going to be the third banana in this entire. He's going to be the third cog in this engine, and I'm going to be interested to see how he blends into this team because it looks like these two guys have a synergy. Now, I still don't think they're going to be a good defensive team, judging by the numbers that they're giving up in the game, 120, 100. You're not games like that. You're looking to outscore teams, right? And it's going to be a high-scoring matchup. But if you go against other teams that can score just like you can, right, but also play better defense than you, those teams are going to have a better shot at winning those games, right? And that's why I'm kind of leaning towards teams like the Lakers and the Clippers because the Clippers and Lakers are better defensively than the Brooklyn Nets, but they can also score buckets in a hurry. The Lakers are scoring a lot of points per game. I think they're scoring somewhere in the 112 or 114, 113, something like that. But the Lakers have a very good differential with the teams. They're beating teams by a pretty good margin. But nevertheless, they lost last night to the Golden State Warriors. But the Golden State Warriors are the bloody Golden State Warriors. So those type of things happen. But nevertheless, the Brooklyn Nets are beginning to surprise me. And it looks like they have something here with KD and James Harden. But yet the question mark still remains. For me, there are two major questions I need answered. Number one, is this team going to play defense moving forward? Are they going to play defense? Are they going to be able to rebound? Number two, how is Kyrie Irving going to fit into this new situation that they have here? Because he's gone from being the second best player in that team to probably the third best player on the team. And also, can these teams beat the other top Eastern Conference teams later down the line, like the Milwaukee Bucks, like the Philadelphia 76ers? Do not sleep on the Indiana Pacers. The Indiana Pacers are a very, very good team. Although they lost to the Clippers by 30, they were that's a very gritty team that was shorthanded. And I think the Indiana Pacers are going to be good this year in the Eastern Conference. So those are my general thoughts and opinions. So what I want to know from you guys is, do you agree with me? Do you think that the Brooklyn Nets are going to be the best team in the Eastern Conference by the end of the season? Or do you think it's going to be another team? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, Hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Again, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out the next video that we have coming up. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamers Pro. Wishing you guys an amazing day. Catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.